Alright everyone, let's go over the answers to the translations from the previous assignment going over the imperfect tense and the chapter 4a vocabulary. Our first sentence says, she and I were timid but generous. Now keep in mind, I am a female, so when I say she and I'm talking about multiple females only. If you're a guy and you answer this, then your adjectives will be a little bit different because you're talking about yourself and a female, so it's a mixed group. So I have ella y yo éramos tímidas, AS. If you're a guy, you should have OS. Pero generosas. And again, if you're a guy, you should have generosos, OS. Next one. You always went to the daycare. So when I say you always went, that implies that you went multiple times and we don't know for how long. That tells us we should be using the imperfect tense. Tú siempre ibas a la guardería infantil. Next one. He didn't allow me to collect the blocks. Él no me permitía coleccionar los bloques. Again, with me permitía, did not allow me. The me is a direct object pronoun. It's going to go in front of the conjugated verb. And next one, when they were 5 years old, they always played with their electric trains. One note for you all, age is always imperfect. So it does not matter what age you're talking about. If you say, oh, when I was 7, when I was 12, when I was 2, age will always be imperfect. Siempre tenía. We're never going to say cuando tuve. Remember, we use tener for age, right? ¿Cuántos años tienes? Tengo 16 años. But in the past, it's always the imperfect tense, never preterite. Cuando ellos tenían 5 años, siempre jugaban con sus trenes eléctricos. We have to make both of those plural. Trains is plural, and then in Spanish our adjectives always match. And lastly, I saw the turtles every day. Yo veía las tortugas todos los días. Again, if you have any questions about these, feel free to log into my live office hours. Alright, today we're going over indirect object pronouns. So these are somewhat similar to our direct object pronouns from before. Think back to when we learned about direct object pronouns. What are direct object pronouns? What question do they answer? They answer whom or what. Whom or what receives the action of the verb. So if I say, I gave my mom a present. I gave my mom a present. We can identify the word gave as our verb, right? And who's doing the giving? I am. That makes me the subject. So I gave. I gave my mom a present. Whom or what did I give? I gave a present. So present is the direct object. But my mom is the person to whom I gave the present. I gave a present to my mom. My mom is the indirect object in this case. So, while direct objects answer the question whom or what receives the action of the verb, an indirect object answers the question of to whom or for whom. These are our indirect object pronouns. In the black bold, you can see the Spanish pronoun, and in the regular type, you can see what that word can mean as an indirect object pronoun. So me can mean to me or for me. Te can mean to you or for you. Le can mean to him, to her, to usted, or for him, for her, or for usted. Nos can mean to us or for us. Les can mean to them, to you all, or for them, or for you all. You might remember these pronouns from using the verb gustar, which is perfect because that's one of the verbs that we're going to be focusing on. The 4 verbs that we're going to be focusing on are gustar, encantar, interesar, and importar. These verbs are all used the same way that we use the verb gustar. So let's go over this a little bit. A lot of times when you think of the verb gustar, you think like. I like this. I like that. But really, in Spanish, the verb gustar means to please or to be pleasing. Right? So if I want to say in English that I like pizza, you would think if I was liking something, we would say gusto, right? But really, in Spanish, we're saying pizza is pleasing to me. to me. Me gusta pizza. La pizza me gusta is pleasing to me. So that's why when you look at the bottom right chart that I have for you with our verbs there, when we use these verbs, especially in Spanish 2 and 3, you will not be using the top conjugations. You're going to either be in the bottom left or the bottom right. So for the verb gustar, for example, the question is, how many things are pleasing to you? Is there one item that is pleasing to you? Or are there multiple items that are pleasing to you? If I wanted to say that football is pleasing to me, I'm going to use gusta because football is just one thing. If I want to say my siblings, then I would use gustan because I have more than one sibling. When we use the verb encantar, encantar is a stronger version of like. It's not just that I like this, but it's that I love it. I love it so much. It's a stronger feeling. Now, this is not the same kind of love that we use for a person, right? Like te amo, amar is the verb to love a person. But encantar is something that you really, really enjoy. We have interesar as well, something that interests you or it's interesting to you. And then we have importar, something that matters to you or something that is important to you. We got a couple examples that I want you to work through with me. So the first one says, I love the blocks, right? You're a small child at daycare and this is the brightest point in your day. I love the blocks. And I have another translation for you in parentheses that says, the blocks are really pleasing to me. I want you all to understand how in Spanish, the verb changes the subject. In English, we can say, I love the blocks. But in Spanish, we're not really saying that I am doing anything. We're saying the blocks are the subject of the sentence and the blocks are really pleasing to me. So to me, we know we're going to use me as our pronoun there. And then we're going to say that the blocks encantan, plural. A mí me encantan los bloques. To me, the blocks are super pleasing. I love the blocks. Okay, go ahead and pause your screen. I want you to try the next two examples and then jump back in when you're ready to go over the answers. All right, let's take a look at what the answers are for these three example sentences. For the first one, a mí me encantan los bloques. The blocks are super pleasing to me, Second one, Spanish is important to you. El español te importa. It is important to you. And number three, running does not interest you all, or running is not interesting to you all. A ustedes no les interesa correr. One thing I do want to point out is that the verb conjugation that you use, whether it's singular or plural, has nothing to do with the pronoun that you're choosing. In the third example, we have les and interesa. We chose interesa because correr is one activity. Running is one thing that does not interest you all. So we're using the singular conjugation of the verb because there's just one activity. But we're using les, which is a plural pronoun, because it's not interesting to multiple people. Same thing with the first sentence, I love the blocks. The blocks are plural, there's more than one block. So we'd say the blocks are pleasing, encantan, even though we're using me, and I'm just one person. All right, now I have your practice sentences that you all are going to do on your own. So make sure that you're paying close attention to what the subject of the sentence is. The first sentence says, I like my teddy bear. In English, we would say that I like the teddy bear, but in Spanish, we want to say the teddy bear is pleasing to me. And keep in mind the translations that I gave you all for the verbs that we're using. If something is pleasing, we'll say gustar. If something is super pleasing, we're going to use encantar, and so on. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me or join in on my live chat, and I will go over these in your next activity.